At the age of 10, I was asked at school, what would you like to be when you become older, when you grow up? My parents were both doctors. They were very successful, both in public and in private healthcare. I was proud of them. I was a smart child. I was full of dreams. I wanted to cure, just as my parents did, or I wanted to teach, just as my grandparents did before, or I just wanted to become a diplomat. So I had many, many dreams. My grandmas and my mom, they told me that you can achieve anything. You will be a strong woman. Still, when I had to answer this question, what would you like to be when you grow up? My answer was, I would like to become a mother. Also, I wanted to have multiple children. I knew that. So that was my answer. I want to become a mother and I want to have several children. Why? Why did I answer it at the age of 10? The reason why I exist, I can think, I can become a strong woman leader is because my parents decided to have a second child. The reason why my parents could decide on having me is because their parents also decided to have children. I am grateful to all of them for being so courageous. Were their decisions about childbearing rational? I wouldn't say so. My grandma gave birth during the Second World War. My grandpa, he was a prisoner of war, so he couldn't meet his child for years. My parents started their family, our family, during the communist dictatorship in Hungary. None of my ancestors could see a safe, predictable future for their children. Yet, they decided not to give up on having a family, yet they decided to have us. So yes, already at the age of 10, I knew I would become a mother. And so did I. I'm a proud mother of 3 children, of Adam, 20, Tamás, 18, and Kata, 16. A proud mother of 3 children who themselves also want to become parents once. So I just hope that I will be a happy grandmother in some years of at least 10 grandchildren. And in the meantime, I haven't given up on my other dreams, and I became an economist, diplomat, a member of the parliament, state secretary, minister, and then president of my country. So that means that I knew I wanted to become a mother, and so did I, but I also knew that I wanted to have a professional career, and so did I. Can you imagine that when my father was born in Hungary in 1949, there were 190,000 births in Hungary. The total fertility rate was 2.54. By the time I gave birth to our first child in 2004, everything halved. That means that we had 95,000 births in Hungary that year, and the total fertility rate was 1.27. Hungary faced a serious demographic disaster. So does now whole Europe, almost the entire world, and above all, South Korea. I came here today to warn you. Korea is in danger. Korea is committing a slow but sure suicide. So my message today to the global audience is, forget about overpopulation. Overpopulation is not the problem anymore. The most important challenge of our future is that of low birth rates. And forget about immigration as a real solution to low birth rates. We are experiencing a global demographic collapse. For the first time in human history, mankind is giving up on its future. I'm pleased to hear that your president, Mr. President Yoon Suk-yeol, on July the 19th, announced a national demographic emergency in Korea. But I think that even more actions should follow. Korea's future is at stake. Your future is at stake. Our future is at stake. A childless nation is a dying nation. A childless world is a dying world. I would like to share with you some experiences of Hungary, some of the elements of the Hungarian unique demographic policy mix. In Hungary, we realize that we are actually also committing a suicide, a national suicide. If you don't do something against the low birth rates, then Hungary will cease to exist in some generations. Since 1981, the Hungarian population is decreasing. We have lost just 10% of our population in 4 decades, but it's also 10%. So each and every year, there are more deaths in Hungary than births. That is an alarming situation. And that's what we realized in Hungary in 2010, and we decided to do something against that. The idea was that demography should become a key factor horizontally. Each stakeholder, government, local authorities, companies, academia, press, has to be aware of the dangers and do their utmost in order to overcome the demographic crisis. Hungary right now spends, or I would rather use the expression invests, twice as much related to its GDP as the OECD average on family policies. So Hungary decided to invest in family policies, to invest in the future, to invest in children. We have complex financial schemes and a very strong awareness raising. The idea in Hungary is to enable timely childbearing, because the biggest problem now is unplanned childlessness and the delaying of childbearing. We would like to erase the financial disadvantage of those raising children, because think about it. In a welfare country, be it Korea or Hungary or any, is it rational to have children? I mean, financially. I'm an economist, I can tell you, no, it's not rational. There is no rational reason for having children. It is much more an emotional issue. I won't go into details about the Hungarian family policy. I could talk about this topic for hours. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer, but I would just tell you 3 examples of the really rather unique and complex Hungarian family policy mix. First one is the tax system in Hungary. The tax system is beneficial for those raising children. To put it very simple, the more children you have, the less tax you pay. If you have 4 children in Hungary as a mother, then you have a lifelong exemption from personal income tax paying. So that means that once you have 4 children, you never pay any personal income tax in your life. I know it's a lot to have 4 children, but still it's a financial advantage. We have tax cuts also for married couples and for those raising children. So we have a tax system that really favors those who raise children and work at the same time. The second example is the reduction of mortgages or loans. I know that Korea is also a very competitive country. You have to study a lot. You have to invest in your studies. Sometimes you also have to take student loans. And if you have these burdens, if you have to pay back these loans, then the mortgages for your house or for your home, then it is a burden. Then you rather think not to have children because you have to pay all this money back. What do we do in Hungary? We just said that once you have these mortgages or you have a student loan and then later on you're going to have children, then we will decrease write-off or totally write down or write off your student loan or your mortgage. So if you have later children, then you don't have to pay back your student loan or your part of your mortgage. So again, we favor those who are ready to have children in a responsible manner. And the third example is the housing subsidies. I've talked to many Korean people and I asked them what the reason is, because they don't have children or they are not ready to have children. And one of the answers is because they cannot afford themselves to have one. They cannot afford having a home, having a house, having an apartment, because it is very expensive in Korea. Seoul is the richest city and still the lowest fertility rate. And what do we do in Hungary? We experience the same thing. In big cities, in Budapest, it is very expensive to buy a house or to build a house. So what do? We give in-cash benefits for those who want to have children, who sign up for having children or already raise children and want to build or buy a new home. And they also get very beneficial mortgages, loans that they partly don't even have to pay back when they have children later on. So it is very beneficial for those starting a family to buy a house or to build a house or an apartment. These are just 3 examples, but we have a very complex system with daycare services, with family-friendly environment, with awareness-raising campaigns. Our idea is that you should feel that Hungary appreciates those who decide on starting a family. Because it is a personal business. Nobody has a say on either you have or don't have a family. That is really a private decision of 2 people. But it is not neutral for the state if the young people decide on having children in a responsible manner or they don't. So we target the rational, but we also target the emotional. We speak about the beauties and also the difficulties of childbearing and child raising. We raise awareness because we want to make this topic high on the agenda, also among young people, because it is only up to the youth if they will change these predictions, what we all see. What I would like to ask you is to think about this topic and start to talk about this topic also here in Korea, to raise awareness, to start discussions among young people about childbearing, because we won't solve this problem, they will. I won't have any more children, young people can. In Hungary, the results were the following. The number of marriages doubled in just 10 years. We had an increasing fertility rate. The fertility rate in Hungary increased by 25%. We had a decreasing number of abortions, of divorces, the lowest ever in our history. So that means that actually you have the chance to change. You have the chance to intervene in a positive manner. My question today is how to collaborate with you. How can that be part of the journey towards coexistence, just as the title of today's conference? We will speak about this in the panel discussion. But I'm also happy to announce that together with the data scientist, demographer, Stephen J. Shaw, we just launched a global initiative, a global nonprofit that targets demographic crisis. We would like to raise awareness, share good practices, give advice, and also launch a discussion among young people about child raising, about their future, about a potential childless future, and understand their points of view. So at the age of 10, I knew I wanted to become a mother. It's been a hard way since. It's been a hard way to be a family woman, a mother, a caring mother, to manage the family life, and also to be successful in a political world which is dominated by men. And I also decided to seize each opportunity to address those women in the first place who are in a similar situation as I used to be, who are keen on their profession, who want to compete, who want to achieve something in their professional lives, who don't want to give up on their careers. I understand that I was the same, but who also don't want to give up on parenthood. So I just want to address these women and also men and just tell you that it's never too late to start your professional career. It's never too late to jump into your job and your profession, but it's going to be too late to start your family life after a while. So if you don't think about it in time, then you will miss the opportunity of going home and then meeting 1, 2, or 3 of your children. Of course, later on, it's only the dog who is happy for you, but still, for a while, it is also the children who cheer when you enter the home. So what I advise you is just to think about this topic and to launch a discussion also in Korea, because otherwise, your country is committing a slow but sure suicide. Thank you so much for your attention.
Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Lee from Seoul National University. It is my great honor to be a moderator for this session with the leaders of the world in politics and management, who have been trying so hard to tackle the very important issue of this country and many other countries, namely population crisis. So, and first of all, I'd like to thank the speaker for sharing her personal experience and the very successful policy story of Hungary to tackle the low fertility over the last 10 or 15 years. And so why we would like to have, we will begin these discussions with the opening remarks from the two discussants. The discussant is Mr. Kevin Ali, who is CEO of the global company, and he has been trying also very hard to eliminate the limitation, biological limitation of childlessness, and also having a champion of the gender inequality around the world. And some people worry that the policy to raise fertility rate may not be good enough for the raising the empowerment of women and increasing labor market activity of females. Sometimes some people say that there should be some negative relationship between the female employment and the raising fertility rate. So do you have any good idea to raise fertility rate and promote labor market activities of female at the same time? Okay, that's my questions. So why don't we begin with the former President Novak? Okay.
Thank you. I find this a very important question, and there I have to add, I spoke about the results in Hungarian family policy, the doubling of the number of marriages, and also the increasing total fertility rate in Hungary. But I haven't mentioned yet that in the meantime, women's employment also grew by a high percentage in Hungary, significantly. So that means that we could achieve, in the meantime, an increase in women's employment and also an increase in fertility rate. Because I think the way you have to look at it is that what you have to achieve is that women shouldn't have to give up on childbearing because of their professional career. And on the other hand, they don't have to give up on their professional career because of childbearing. So that would be actually the goal. That if you imagine a woman, I mean, just imagine a well-educated woman coming out of university. I look at you, I just see faces like that here in the room as well. I was like that at the age of 25, whatever. You come out of university, you hold your university degree. You want to achieve something. You want to earn money. You want to prove that you are also capable. You want to just deliver. Not in that sense to deliver a child, but to deliver in the sense that professionally deliver. That's what you feel like in the age of 25. And then you start your professional career. I assume you're good at it. You just get different opportunities that you don't want to miss on. It is very difficult to quit, actually. It is very difficult to say for such a woman that, okay, now I will just go and give birth to a child. I will stay at home for some months, maybe years. In Hungary, there is a maternity leave of 3 years, which many women use. Actually, I was at home 6 years long with my children as a stay-at-home mom. I remember my mother, when I was expecting our third child, I was sitting there with our 2 little boys and expecting our girl. And my mom just came and said that, oh my God, my daughter, you will never have a decent job. You will just care about the children all your life long. And then I did. And I don't say that this example goes for everybody. I was privileged. I was lucky enough that I managed. But I'm just saying that it is very difficult to quit. I remember how difficult it was to make this decision. So what I'm saying is that I think it is inevitable to also include the business sector. And that's what just as Mr. Ali, I also very much value Korea's high intention to work together with the business sector, because it is up to the employers how they address these young people, young employees in the childbearing age, because they want to make the most out of them, honestly. It is not very it doesn't really pay off for a company to send the employees home to have children. It's not that's not their intention to do. What they want is in these most fertile, but in the meantime most effective years, they want to get the most out of their employees. So I think what we have to achieve is also to get the business sector engaged and collaborate with them in order to really implement an approach at the workplaces where you enable these young women and also men, but women in the first place, to, at the time of childbearing, at the fertile time of their lives, to be able to have a family, to start a family, and to feel that they are secure. They are not risking their future. They are not risking their financial background. They are not risking their jobs. So I think that is with which methods. That's already a question of techniques. There are different tools with which you can achieve that. But the idea itself would be that there be in Korea, in Hungary, all over the world, let's say, pro-natalist companies as well, who really do support their employees in that sense.
Thank you. Look, I think that pick up on something that President Novák had mentioned that kind of rang true in my ears, which is confidence. Confidence in girls and women that they can do both, that they can start a family, have children, and at the same time pursue a very successful career within the working world. Now, there has to be, to that point, there has to be both public and private contribution to that confidence. On the public side, clearly, some of the things that were already mentioned are very important. For example, like paternity leave, maternity leave. I'll give you an example in Denmark currently. As an example, Denmark guarantees essentially at least 1 year of paid maternity leave and paternity leave, both for men and women, and it's a mandatory for 9 weeks for men to take paternity leave as well. So when women understand that this is not something that is solely on her shoulders to raise a family, and that it's a team game, that the fact that there's going to be paternity leave as well supported, that is one aspect. The second thing that I would say is there's a number of issues around housing costs, education costs. That's a lot of public investment. That it's not just the fact that the government says we're going to pay for IVF treatment. That's not going to do anything. Ultimately, it's going to have to be a multifaceted approach to being able to solve that issue. Now, on the private side, how can companies like myself and Organon help to give confidence to women? A couple of things. One is you have to have gender equity in your hiring practices. I'll give you an example. 50% of my company, of the 10,000 people that work for us, are women. 50% of the management are women. 70% of the board of directors are women. So you have to be very consequent in the way that you actually say, we are very women friendly in terms of hiring, promoting, developing, reimbursing, and especially around pay equity, which needs to be there and in a fair process. If women know that there is a fair process in society to do both, you will stimulate that opportunity to be able to create more of a tailwinds that will help women to feel comfortable to start to think about the fact that she doesn't take a step backwards once she decides to take some years off and raise a family. I think that those are some critical steps, that it is public and it is private. It can't be just one or the other in order to provide confidence and sustainable solutions for the long term.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Ali just mentioned that having confidence that you can do both is very important, and I agree. And I envy that you have a very woman-friendly, environment in the company. But the reality in Korea is very different. And as a matter of fact, the female labor participation rate among the lowest in OECD countries. And the gender wage gap between men and women is highest among the OECD countries. And many people say that it is because of the disadvantage of the woman who confront in the labor market and in the household after marriage and having children. So my question is, what would be the major social and institutional barriers that should be eliminated so that women can, fulfill their dream and utilize their potential, without any limitation? So, do you have any the thoughts on that question?
It was very inspiring to listen to you, and I could refer to similar experiences as yourself, working in a man-dominated sector in politics, and also being a working mother. It's tough, but we all know. And I would also refer back to what Mr. Ali said, because I truly believe that it is about confidence. It is about making young women believe that they are capable. They're capable of doing both. I mean, if you raise children, is that you can improve skills that you would never improve while you were just working at the same desk for those years. You are in logistics, you will be a superhero. In flexibility, I mean, who knows what is going to happen through the night? It's you will always meet flexible solutions. Managing any discussion. I mean, imagine a family with different family members. Nobody wants the same thing. So you have to be able to negotiate or drive negotiations between all these. So many skills you are just improving while you are a mother, a natural mother, and you are trying to manage families. I completely agree with you when it's about burden sharing. It's about having mothers and fathers also in the families. But we also have to be honest, I think, and face reality. For a woman, for a mother, it is also always in our minds that what if we stay alone with the kids? What if it happens that we have to manage it all alone through our lives? We have to do everything. We have to be the ones who will keep the birthdays in mind, who will try to gather the family. And no matter how strong we try to balance these tasks between the man and the women, it is a little bit always more what stays for the women in the family. That is true. And I don't think we have to hide this part of the reality either. But we are capable of doing it. I mean, we are women. We are strong. And that's what we are created for. The fact is that more and more women get to higher education all around the world. In Hungary, there are now much more women graduating from university year by year than men. What would that lead to? That means that these very well-educated, capable women, emancipated women, here in Korea, in Hungary, in Europe, all over, in the United States, all over, they really want to achieve something. They would become frustrated if they just cannot use their potential. So that is what we have to understand and, again, make confidence. And I think what we have to keep in mind is that's just not about gender equality in the sense that equal opportunities for men and women. If a woman doesn't have a child, then actually what is the difference? The real difference arises when a woman gives birth to a child, because we have the same brain capacity, or we are smart. I mean, we are capable, everything. It's only the question that we actually at a certain moment of our lives decide or not decide on giving birth to a child, because we are the ones who will deliver. That will never change. We are the ones who really have to be there. One of our children, sorry, that's not public information, but I share it with you. One of our children has type 1 diabetes. This is a burden that we have to carry all our life long, and that means that I am her mother. I know I have to wake up maybe 2 times, 3 times a night, and I have to support her or through her life. That comes also with a package. That is also part of it. And we all know that, so we have to get prepared for that. So what I'm saying is that we don't just have to give equal opportunities, we have to give more opportunities to those women who are eager and ready to have children. and who want to become also mothers and deliver at their workplaces at the same time. And to give them the feeling of security, to make them believe that they won't just fall back in their positions once they spend some months or years at home with the children. Yes, we have to engage, encourage fathers also to participate. It is very difficult. I think that is a cultural issue, and that happens very slowly. So I don't want to mislead ourselves that it will happen from one day to the other, that men just will be there and do everything with the children. But I think we have to promote this. We have to try to encourage them, because then they will also realize what it means to be there, to be a father. And just one last thing I would like to stress is timing. Because I think that is the most crucial issue, the postponing of childbearing. Because we just spoke about that before the panel with Mr. Ali, that, we live longer. I mean, in Korea, you live so long. So you live long. You know that you will live longer. So you have the perception that you have time for everything. You have more time for starting a family. That's not true. The fertile period of your life is exactly the same as it used to be 100 years ago. It hasn't changed anything. So it's biology, it's not any ideology. I think that we have to confront young people at a very young age with this reality. That is education. Education is the key here as well. We have to educate young students to understand what their fertile period of their lives is. Because if they know that they can miss on this opportunity, then they can meet good decision. Then they can meet really information-based, wise decisions about their lives. And it won't be too late. Because yes, we can speak about infertility treatments, which are very important, and we have to provide them as well. But that's not the solution. That is just, because of delaying childbearing. And I think that is very important to stress, that you can miss on childbearing if you don't think about it in time. That would just be my most important remark. Thank you.
Mr. Ali, when you give an answer to this question, I'd like to ask you to give your opinion about the sort of reasonable division of responsibilities between government and business, and what would be the most important roles and actions that the private companies should take to deal with the population crisis.
So if we take a step back, if you really want to make progress in this concept of demographic resilience, healthy aging, governments are the key to being able to unlock that challenge. Let's remember, folks, we are in a perfect storm right now. This is the first time in recorded history that we have more than 60% of the world having a birth rate that is lower than the replacement rate as we speak today. And it's getting worse. This is also compounded by the fact that we have the fastest aging society in the world today. 17 global economies have more than 20% of their population above the age of 65. And in 6 years, it's doubling to 34 global economies will have more than 20% of their population above 65. What does that mean? That means essentially that the pressure on young people coming through and up in the future will be immense in managing social, health, national security, pensions, all the other issues that are going to be required. It's almost an impossibility. And if you start to think about where we're going, in the sense that here in Korea, let's just say you're right now at 0.7, which is the lowest in the world. We know that, okay. Seoul, from what I understand, the most recent statistics is that Seoul is actually at 0.5. So even if you double, if you go to from 0.7 to 1.4, you're still significantly below the replacement rate at 2.1. And it will take nearly an act of God to go from 0.7 to 1.4. It will take a serious investment by the government for some of the things that we've talked about earlier, which is things like confidence that there will be housing support, education support, confidence that there will be support in terms of IVF as well as access to those reproductive health things, confidence in that there will be support in regards to job, pay equity, more women in management and leadership equity. Because if women see that there are role models, not just one or two, like Representative Na, but many more Representative Nas in the world here, then there will be more confidence that we can do both. And I think right now, as I mentioned earlier, some of the ideas is that you just have to get started. And you, Korea, having the leadership of being the host country for the 2025 APEC meeting is a fantastic opportunity to stress and double down on your commitment to that investment around some of these ideas, to further these smart ideas around demographic resilience, healthy aging, increasing women's health, increasing women in the workforce in terms of management and throughout different layers of management in your companies. Because there have been so many studies done in the world today that those companies, and by extension, those countries that have a more diverse workforce, and I define diverse meaning gender, cultural, religious, everything. The more diverse it is, the more successful and resilient you'll become, not only as a company, but as a country. And that's what I would say is that 2025 is a great opportunity to do so.
Okay, thank you very much. And I wish we had more time for taking some questions from the floor, but unfortunately we are running out of time. And I wish we could hear more wisdom from you, but we will have to conclude the session here. And I thank you very much for the speaker and the two discussants and the audience. I hope that the lesson we hear today will be helpful for improving the government policy for the tackling the low fertility issues and preparing for the future population change. Thank you.